Welcome back to another episode of Cheapskate Nation. Today we got a little bit different episode on our hands. My wife's 2014 Yukon SLT with a 5.3 and 6L80 or whatever. It's a 6-speed transmission. It's I noticed in the driveway that it's got some drips of oil on the ground. So we're going to dive into that. And I think is what it is that truck doesn't have an exterior oil cooler on it. So I think it's the block-off plate and that's causing that. So we're going to go and call GM real quick and get an estimate on what it is for them to do that.
Let's take 60 seconds. Thank you for holding. This is Rex.
Hi, Rick. I have a 2014 Yukon, and I was changing the oil on it the other day, and it looks like the oil block-off plate for the external oil cooler, that plate's leaking oil, and I was wondering what it would cost to get that fixed.
I'm sorry, what was the year?
It's a 2014 Yukon.
2014 Yukon. Let me take a look. I'm going to put you on hold for just a sec.
Okay.
Let's take 60 seconds and talk about automobile guarantees. If you drive your car long enough, something will go wrong. Things wear out, break, need to be repaired and replaced, and can run into thousands and thousands of dollars, guaranteed. But you have a plan for that, right? Oh, you don't? Well, most factory warranties are only good for 36 months. And trust me, they know just how long they can protect you. They made the car. And just because the car passed all the safety specifications doesn't mean it will 5 or 10 years from now. And right about then, something will go wrong. It's inevitable. So if you don't have a plan, the Sunset Auto family has a great one for you. Warranty protection for life. It's included with every single qualifying new and pre-owned Sunset vehicle, and honored at any ASE certified repair facility in the United States and Canada for as long as you own it. Go to sunsetautofamily.com and see thousands of protected vehicles. You just get more from Sunset, and people do like that. So it looks like labor time, you'd be $420.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure how much the part costs. I can transfer in the parts, and they should be able to tell you. I couldn't find it here.
Oh, that's okay. I looked up what the part was online, and it's like 50 to 60 bucks, depending on which one you get.
You're about 2 hours labor, so about $420.
Okay, 420 bucks. Thank you, sir.
You bet, no problem.
You bet. Bye-bye. So you heard it from the man himself. It's 420 bucks in labor to replace this part or fix it and maybe stop leaking. So next step for me to do is go out and check out the truck and see if what my hunch is actually true. Might be something else that I have to call on. Who knows? We'll find out. So here we go. We got the 2014 Yukon all jacked up, sitting on jack stands because I got to get under there. I contemplated putting it on the ramps, but I figured jack stands might give me more wiggle room since I got to get into it from the side over here. And we'll hop under there in just a moment. Let me grab a couple tools and I'll show you everything that I'm dealing with as far as the oily mess under there. So we're first going to start with doing an oil change. We're going to get the filter out of there. That way we can really see up in there where it's leaking from. We're going to grab the light and look everywhere we possibly can, and I'm going to film as much of it as I can along the way to figure out where this leak is coming from. So I'm looking up in there, and there's a bunch of oil up higher over the transfer case, and a bunch of oil on the stabilizing, on the sway bar. And the majority of it looks like it's coming right from there. Looks like it's seeping out of there. So it might be best for me to just drop the drive shaft to gain access up in there. Who knows? There's the oil filter, but you can see oil has dribbled all over the place here. And I'm just wondering now if it's actually more pan gaskets than it is that, because I can see, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see way up there on some of the oil drain bolts or oil pan bolts. It looks like oil's coming off of those, but nevertheless it definitely looks like that cover right there. So get you in there. This is a cover right here. That's if your equipment has a an accessory oil cooler. That's what that is for. And this vehicle doesn't have it, so it's just capped off. So there is a possibility that it could be a rear main seal. If that's the case, the vehicle's got 200,000 miles on it. I'm not going to replace it. I'm just going to be kind of diligent about adding a little oil to it, maybe every 2,000 miles, or at least check the oil every 2,000 miles. That'd be roughly every 4 fill-ups with gas, because I think it goes about 380 miles on a tank. But so the 3 things it could be is the rear main seal, the oil pan gasket, or the oil cooler block-off plate. Your model might have an actual oil cooler on it, and in that case it's still going to have the same gasket that's there, and it could leak as well. So that's the 3 main places that it could leak. And actually, let me go out and see if I can show you the driveway real quick, and the gravel where it's been parked at, and what brought me to, oh, it's got a leak. And in case you didn't know, one of the things that can make it really hard to detect where an oil leak is actually coming from is that you're traveling down the road, and the wind from not only driving, but the wind from the fans actually blowing on the motor, or blowing on the radiator, or sucking air through the radiator, causes oil to wick all over the place. So that's why it's really hard to actually sometimes find where an oil leak is. So this is the driveway about where the Yukon parks every day, and it's kind of in this little area right here. There's some right there, and that's how I determined that, oh, we got an oil leak. Look at the puppy just chilling right there, like a boss, guard dog. After further evaluation of this engine, it looks like it could be a pan gasket leak that's going out too. I'm just noticing a lot of oil up in there. These are the transmission cooler lines you're looking at. Could be a lot of different things. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy that wings it. But let's go ahead and get the oil drained and the filter changed, and maybe we'll tackle this other part and replace that gasket and get one of them resolved. And if you're wondering, the oil drain plug bolt, it's a 15 millimeter. And of course I missed the pan. Oh well. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get out your collection of 10 millimeter wrenches. And these are just 2 10 millimeter bolts. You're going to want to take them out. Both of them. Well, it's loose. I just can't get my fat fingers in there to get it off. 1 second. I might have to take the drive shaft out. Oh boy. Yeah. That's like a piece of plastic right there. I'm going to put the camera down and try to get this off. I'll show you what I got. So we were able to get it out of there. Here's what the part looks like. You can see that. That was the old gasket. And that's all it is. It's just a little plug. It's a cap. So I'm going to clean the oil off of this surface and reseal it with and use a little bit of gasket sealer on the new one. And I've got the new one there prepped with a little bit of RTV on there to help seal it up. So I got the new part on there with little RTV, and this gasket actually really helps hold the bolts in, so it's probably easiest just to put it all up in there as one unit. I'm gonna see if I can't slip it up in there. Probably can't. Probably gonna need 2 hands. Yep, there goes 1 bolt. Perfect. So I'm just getting this part back up in there. I recommend that if you're doing this, to definitely take out the drive shaft if you can. It just gives you a little bit more room to work. I'm just snuggling up the bolts now, and then we're going to put the oil filter back on and fill her full of oil. So a 10mm wrench is going to be your friend on this back one. Not so much on this one unless you got a bend in it, and I'll show you that one. So this wrench has an elbow on the head. It's a 10mm, but it makes it a lot easier to get it up there, get it snugged in. And you don't have to get them super tight, just snug. And as you can see now, I got the gasket, the sealant squirting out from all sides. So I think that's gonna dry up and make a nice seal, hopefully. Well, it's not too terrible of a job, but it's all back together. Wix oil filters in place, and ready to put oil in this thing and call it a day, see if it leaks anymore. If it does, we might try a little bit of oil stop or oil stop leak. I know they make it. I never had any good reports of it, but if you know one, go ahead and comment it down below. If any of you are wondering, that's 72435 is the part number, it looks like, or it could be 231214. That's the part number of that gasket, so just in case if you're curious. That's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, and please, it'd mean a lot to me if you subscribed. It'd be super helpful to this channel and help it grow. Comment down below if I could have done anything better or different or been more helpful. It's a 15mm wrench for the oil drain plug. It's going to take an oil filter wrench or oil filter pliers for the oil filter, and then a couple of 10mm wrenches just to take off that cover and fix it. And like I said before, that cover, it might actually be for your oil cooler lines that go up to your radiator, to the front of your engine, next to your radiator, and it's going to have a gasket in those parts too, and that could be what's leaking. So you might have a little more fighting there to go on to dealing with lines and whatnot. And it actually might be easier. The lines might actually hold it in place. I don't know. I haven't done it. But the only recommendation that I make is maybe take off the drive shaft if you have a four-wheel drive model. Anyway, as always, stay cheap, everybody.